screen that you just have to accept it. There's no way around it. So this is the main menu that you come to, and it'll show your map in the left-hand side in whatever aspect you've left it in, either 2D or 3D. Of course, you have a Find button, you have Route, and More is where your settings are behind. So if we go ahead and bring up our map, we just touch it, and it goes ahead and brings up our map. And as you can see, this is just a beautiful 2D top-down view with kind of a topographical feel to it, and it's very high resolution. This is again an 800 by 480 panel, so everything is nice and crisp and clean. You've got a little bit of information on this screen right here. Obviously it'll tell you what street you're currently on here, down here at the bottom. Up here is your direction of travel, and then the addresses on the left and the right side of the street as you drive down whatever street you're on. Down in the bottom right, you've got the time, speed limit, and current speed, and those data fields are individually changeable or selectable, and we'll show you how to do that here shortly. In the upper right hand corner, you've got a quick menu that allows you to have instant access to any of your favorite icons that you choose to put in any one of those spaces. And each one of these are customizable, so you can move any icon or any quick access to any one of those squares and be able to have immediate access to it. Down here, of course, is our menu to go back out to our main menu, and if we just tap the screen, we can signify another point on the map, and it brings up a couple of different things that we can accomplish there. We can find out the information for what we just tapped. We can turn our map in map orientation however we'd like to see it. We can turn that map from two-dimensional to three-dimensional. We can, there's 2D top-down, and here's our 3D map that we can change the horizon and look at that in a three-dimensional view, as well as zoom in and zoom out at will. So we've got pretty much full control over the map, and this is a temporary setting. This is mainly so you can go and grab another point on the map. We have more where we can determine, or we can find different places around there. We can add it to our favorites. We can show our position. We can add a alert point. We can hit historical traffic for that point. There's a number of things we can do there, or we can even select it as a destination. In this case, kind of not going to happen because it's only 2 blocks away. But anyway, once we get back to our map, it'll go ahead and take us back to our previous view. Now, one cool thing that we can do on the quick menu over here, we've set up our map settings. This is a real quick, easy way of getting in there so we can configure the map whatever way we'd want. Personally, I like the 2D top-down view, but you can change that to 3D view, and of course change the viewpoint to whatever makes you comfortable in looking at the data on the map. The automatic overview allows you to, as you're coming up to an instruction, it will allow you to have an automatic view of where that instruction is going to take you. Our colors are automatic, or day or night, and this is obviously our nighttime setting. Auto just allows you to do that as you that changes automatically with the time of day. We can choose our map colors, day map colors, our night map colors. We have 3D vehicles available, and on adcmobile.com well, actually, let's stock. It comes with 11 vehicles in there. On adcmobile.com, we've got files that allow you to download, I believe, 252. So we've got quite a selection available for download at any time. In the 3D mode, you've got 3D landmarks, even 3D buildings, as well as track logs where you can have it actually lay a breadcrumb trail behind you. And then, of course, place markers are our icons that we can lay on the map for whatever point of interest category we like. So, for instance, if we want to go into accommodation, we can just keep drilling down as far as we want to go to show exactly what it is we want to put on our map. And there are literally thousands of points of interest in each one of these categories. So we can populate the map with as many or as few of the point of interest icons on the map at any one time. So each one of these is available, and literally you can populate the thing where you couldn't even see the map anymore if you wanted to. So that's a quick overview of the map settings. The other things, again, we can do on our quick menu is we have literally as many different options as you want to move into that quick access you can, and here's how you do that. If we go down to more, we can go to our settings, and there's our customize our quick menu. So now we can choose whatever thing we want in any one of these. So if we don't want to have historical traffic there and we want to change it to something else, we can change it to anything else we want. We can put our vehicle profile in there if we want, etc. There's a lot of different things that we can put in any one of these different icons. Getting it back into some of the settings now, our sound and warnings. Right up here we've got all of our voices, our alert tones, our key presses, etc. are all done here. So we can set our volume to whatever it is we want. There's our guidance volume. We can have it click on our keystrokes if we want, as well as our alert tones. Our voice languages. We've got TTS voices built in, and we can have those.
Have a nice trip, drive carefully.
Have a nice trip, drive carefully.
Have a nice trip, drive carefully.
So we can choose whatever voice we want, and once we choose that, it'll go ahead and change it for us. Our TTS Pro is the ability to read out some of the options here that are available only on some of the voices. Obviously not all of the voices in here can do this, but the TTS voices can. So it can actually give you quite a bit more spoken information if you want it. The verbosity level is obviously how much you want it to go ahead and announce for you. Oh, excuse me. The speed warning settings. This is really kind of nice. You can set up your speed limits or your warnings for speed limit based on the percentage of the speed limit on the road you're currently on. So in this case, I've got it set up to 110% of the speed limit. It'll go ahead and warn me that I'm speeding. It lets me always have my speed limit available and visible on the screen, and I can have it choose how I want to get warned as well. The alert point settings. Alert points. You can import all of these different alerts, and in our case at ADC Mobile, we've got a database of red light cameras that you can download free and available anytime. So you got 4,500 red light cameras available in the United States, and all of these other alert points can be called out as well. Warning signs. You can bring up all of these different warnings if you choose, anytime you want, or not. Any one of these, lanes and passing, general warnings, traffic and crossing. I mean, there's just a ton of things that it can warn you about if you choose to have those. The traffic, historical traffic, it does have historical traffic patterns built into it that allow the system to reroute you based on what it knows are going to be historically congested conditions on the roads that it's trying to send you down at the time of day it's trying to send you down them. Now you can choose to turn that on or off, and it will calculate your route accordingly. Route settings. This is where you can choose to send it down whatever roads you choose or whatever route, as well as calculate a green alternative to any of the routes that it does decide to run you down. Again, our map settings, we already went through that. Our visual guidance. Here's where we show our data fields down there in the bottom right hand corner of the map screen down here in the bottom right. So depending on what we want to have in any one of those fields, we can turn that into whatever else we want. If we want altitude in the middle, we can put altitude on there. If we want our speed limits always show, that's how we can do that. Now that's on fields when we're not in a route. When we're in a route, we can choose a completely different set of data points as well as just our general data points. So we can keep tabs on our current route all in those data fields down there in the bottom right hand corner. Just a phenomenal amount of data that's available at any time on this deck. It's pretty amazing. Highway services. Highway services are really cool. Facilities. We can choose when we're on a highway. This will automatically allow us to have essentially another data field over on the right hand side of the map that shows us all of whether the points of interest that we've chosen here are behind any one of the next 3 exits that we're going to find. And we can choose anything we want to put behind any one of these points of interest. So, you know, for instance, if we want to find out if there's a bank behind the next exit, you know, we can scroll down and you know, see if there's a Bank of America if we wanted to. And if that's something that we wanted to have called out on our next exit, that's where we do it. So we can see any of these behind our facilities on our highways. There's our signposts. We can turn them on or off. And our junction view. Junction view is the overview that shows us what lane we're going to be in, etc. Our route progress bar is a little progress bar that goes from 100% of our route left on up to our destination. That shows up in the left side of the map, and we can turn that on or off. The display allows us to animate our menus or just choose whatever skins we want. Our regional settings, obviously we can choose a number of different languages that are built into the unit, and as well as our units of measure and, you know, all of our different options that have to do with the country or our region that we're driving in. We can always also choose our auto or manual time zone and set that for whatever time zone we're driving in. We have our trip monitor. Trip monitor is pretty amazing. Trip monitor allows us to save our trips and our track logs, and it will go ahead and show us the progress of our trips automatically. And I'll show you how that works here in just a second. Our configuration wizard, obviously, if you want to have some help setting this all up, it will manually walk you through how to configure the system, or you can always reset it to a default. Now, I was just talking about that trip monitor. Here's what trip monitor does. This is pretty cool. Whenever, if we have it automatically recording our trips, it'll automatically record it every time that we turn the truck on and turn on our nav system. And what that does is, if we go into any one of these trips, it gives us a ton of data on the last trips that we took. And obviously you can glean any amount of data you want to out of this, including the amount of time that you were stopped. So, for instance, if you're buying this nav system for a commercial vehicle, you can determine how long the driver was stopped. We've got a stop time, we've got driving time, total time, speeds, altitudes, etc. And actually, it's kind of funny. It enables time travel as well. We started at 8:58 and we got there at 7:23. Pretty amazing. I didn't realize that we traveled back in time with this deck. One of the other things that's pretty nice here, if you hit the More button, you can rename that trip, trip to Grandma's or trip to school or whatever you want. You can change the color of it. You can export that data and save it. You can see a elevation profile. In this case, our altitude didn't work on this trip, so we don't have any data there. But this is actually your speed, so you can tell how many times we stopped, for how long, what our maximum speed was, what our average speed was, and that is a very nice way of being able to break up our trip into sections and see exactly what it is we went through on any particular trip. We can also show that on the map of exactly where our trip was, and in this case we see our green line of travel there. And we can zoom into or out of this map to show the overall trip. In this case, we went from Federal Way on up to Lake Tapps, and that shows it right there, as well as our relative speed during that trip. Pretty neat way of looking at all of this data. You also have a green routing. This is pretty cool too. This gives you an idea of what you actually spent on the trip, because it also has data fields that you can enter the fill up on your fuel stops with the mileage, with the cost, and it'll allow you to actually calculate what the total cost of that trip was in terms of fuel, and then CO2 consumption in terms of miles per gallon, and what you got on the highway and on the city, etc. So it really does allow you to have quite a bit more insight into exactly what your vehicle is costing you to operate. Pretty neat. And you can save or delete any of these tracks. Easy as just deleting the track that you don't want anytime you don't want it. Simple as that. And we're recording our trip. Let's we're just sitting here. Let's go ahead and delete that. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And the way that the trip monitor works is it gets its data from your fuel consumption. Now, in this case, it shows our last fill-ups, and in this case, we've only got 3. But you click into any one of them, and there's your entry off of your odometer. There's the length of your trip, average fuel economy, cost per mile, etc. Because it'll tell you what as you fill up, it asks you your mileage, your current number of miles since your last fill up, and then the cost of the fuel, so it can determine all of this data. And then of course that plugs into your trip data as well. It's a pretty neat system. The rest of the options on this screen, again, we've been into our settings. We went through all of those. Updates and extras, just let us know that all of the updating is done at naviextras.com, and that's always available for you anytime. Sunrise and sunset just gives us an idea of what part of the world is in sunlight and what part's in nighttime. Our country information is kind of crazy. It's got a lot of data in here, and you can click on any country and find out what the speed limits are and blood alcohol content, I guess, and whatever information you feel you need to have to drive in that country, it's all here. So that's a kind of a neat little, bunch of data that is available to you anytime. Now, the meat and potatoes of this thing are obviously how it's going to get you to your destination. So there's a couple ways you can do that. We can either come up, show our map and drill back through here by hitting our menu and then find, or we can always, if we're on our map, we can always hit our destination hard button over here, and let's turn our lights on. There we go. Hit our destination, and now we can go ahead and have instant access to our destination screen. We can find our destination in a number of different ways. In this case, it kicks us right to the address destination screen, and if we know the address, we can go ahead and input it here. Or if we want to go back, again, we hit find, and now we can have our history where we've been at any time in our past. We can find an address, we can find a place, a point of interest, a place on the map. We can pull something out of the favorites that we've memorized in the unit, or again, we can go into deeper history and grab items that way in any way that we choose. So if we do have an address, let's say we want to go to Seattle. Okay, we can go to Seattle. Street is going to be let's go Greenbrier Way, and our house number is going to be 1639. We hit done, and now it gives us an overview of our destination. We can add it to our favorites, and all the things that we had available earlier, or we hit next, and now it'll go ahead and calculate that route. And once it's done calculating the route, it'll then bring up an overview and the all of the details for our trip to get there. So in this case, it's 45 miles away, an hour and 2 minutes. We're going to use 2.4 gallons and emit 21 kilos of CO2. If we choose to go there, it's counting down automatically to our destination, and now it's going to obviously route us there as we get rolling. Now up here we have a turn-by-turn itinerary where we can actually see exactly how it's going to get us there, or we can also see our current progress. There's that progress bar in the on the left hand side of the map, and now we also show our other data that's available once we're on a route. Again, we still have our quick menu, and now we can edit our route if we choose. We can cancel it. We can do anything we want to real quickly, real easily from that deal. Now, the other thing we can do down here is we can bring in very detailed instructions, and we can literally drill down in these instructions to the arrival time at any one of these. So we really know and can very easily see exactly what stage of our trip is going to occur at what time, and we can even bring up our road list, where, how far away, what direction it is. We can go back to our summary. We can literally choose as much or as little data as we want to see at any time on this screen. Now, if we want to, we can go into edit our route. And this is a really nice place that we can add waypoints. So, for instance, here's our current location, and there's our destination. But if we want to go and stop and get something to eat, in the meantime, we can go ahead and, let's say, find a place along our route. We can do a quick search for, let's say we want to hit McDonald's. We can go ahead and key all of this in, and as you see, it's reducing our available options as we keep keying this thing in. And now when we're down to a normal, to a manageable list, we can hit any of these McDonald's, anything on the way. So if we want to hit the McDonald's in Kent, we just tap it and hit next, and now it's added our McDonald's on the way to our next destination. And now we can hit go, and again it'll recalculate that route first to our McDonald's, then to our destination. So we've got literally any way that we want to be able to get to our destination, in waypoints, in routes, any particular way we want to do it, this unit will allow us to get there. And again, give us as much data, as much information as we possibly can stand to consume. Now, the other thing we can do here on my route, we have, again, there's the overview of our destination and our route that it's going to take there, the alternatives that we will use to get there. We can now choose avoidances as well. We can avoid specific roads. We can avoid any one of these destinations or any one of these roads that it was going to take us down. We can choose to avoid that route or avoid that road, and it will reroute us around it. We can avoid the route ahead. If we want to take a different route, it'll go ahead and calculate a different route for us and allow us to accept it or go back and try another one. We can avoid any of these special sections, in other words, our highways if we choose. So it'll give you the ability literally to get wherever you want, any way you want to get there, with as much data as you can possibly stand to consume along the way. And again, if we go back up, let's go ahead and remove our waypoint. We just went ahead and removed it. So now we're back to our first destination. We can also now come back and cancel our route and cancel it completely. So it's now we're not on any route anywhere, anyhow. If we're not in that route, we've got another way we can get there. We can build a route, and we can add this again any other way. Let's go and find a place on the map. We can just go ahead and zoom out, pick a point on the map, and it'll choose a way to get us there. Simple as that. So a number of different ways that you can determine any route that you want to do, any way that you want to do it. Just an amazing amount of data, including coordinates. You can punch in any one of them and it'll get you there. So in the overall view of things, the iGO Primo is about thorough, most entertaining, most just the most badass nav system that we currently know of in a car, in a vehicle today. It's just ultra capable, ultra fun. It has more data and more options to present that data than anything else we know of, and we're very happy that it finally made its way into the Advent OGM1.